4 ways modern life fucked me and how I ejected back to nature. Number 1, processed food. When arthritis brought my whole life to a dead halt this spring, I decided to try a plant-based diet. The results were ridiculous. In about a month, I went from barely being able to walk to running a 60-second 400-meter dash in barefoot shoes and regularly crushing 20-minute 5Ks like they were casual jogs. I'm now 5'11 and 145 pounds, which would have felt wimpy to my 170-pound self, but accepting my body the way it is feels amazing. Here's the best part. Fruits, veggies, and legumes are so low fat that you can literally stuff your face all day long and not gain a single pound. If you keep lots of vegan munchies on hand, it's really easy to resist junk food. Plus, plants are just cheaper than meat. So let's break that down a little bit. For breakfast, you could have steel-cut oats and half a banana instead of cereal. For lunch, you can freeze canning jars of legumes and veggies instead of takeout. For snacks, I like to munch on nuts and seeds instead of chips and candy. Dinner, you could do like a veggie stir fry, sweet potato stew, etc. instead of meat. Dessert, I love to go for fresh fruit instead of cookies and pastries. And then just in general, for some eating rules, just mostly plants, not too much, and organic whenever possible. And if you want to read more about how to eat healthy and eat naturally, I would look into the book How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. It's like basically the Bible of natural nutrition. All right, so let's move on to number 2, working out. Planet Fitness closed about 2 weeks after the coronavirus pandemic started ramping up, which left me without a gym for the first time in years. It's kind of weird. Initially, I tried using free weights, but the pain that had been developing in my knees and hips just got worse. I could barely walk, and I started to question whether I would even be able to run again. As a last-ditch effort, I bought a book on bodyweight exercise. I didn't really care for it, but the general idea was kind of interesting. After some experimenting, I finally stopped taking other people's workout advice and stuck to natural balancing, flexing moves. That plus switching to a vegan diet made my whole body leaner, meaner, and pain-free. It's also just more fun and less hassle overall. So here's some tips for working out. Gyms, just cancel your membership because you don't need it. Just save yourself some money. Weights, you can throw them out or sell them and just use your body. That's really all you need. Advice, ignore fitness advice and start doing what feels natural. Flexing, tense your muscles, and you want to go for that feeling of your muscles burning but not pain. So you can just experiment, just see what happens when you move your body around. Balancing, it works really well to do exercises on one leg because you can recruit more muscle groups. Bending, you want to avoid doing full extension. So like if you're doing a pull-up, don't go all the way down because it can actually stress your joints. You want to keep your joints slightly bent so that all the stress is on your muscles, not the joints. Cardio, running and hiking are a lot better than static lifting. Freedom, bodyweight exercises can be done whenever, wherever. So it's just much more free than going to the gym. Costs less, and then, you just don't have to have an equipment, which is nice. And then DIY, you can literally use anything around you, like benches, walls, and even tree limbs to work on different muscle groups from different angles. Okay, let's go to number 3, which is medication. I started taking Zyrtec in middle school to treat my pollen and dust allergies. It became so automatic that I took it every day for 15 years without even thinking about it. After going plant-based, I decided to go medication-free too. I thought my allergies would go nuts, but there was almost no difference between being off medication and being on medication, except the fact that I felt a lot less drowsy and more focused during the day when I wasn't on Zyrtec, which was awesome. The same is also true for my other meds. Propecia made me depressed instead of stopping my hair loss. Nasal sprays gave me nosebleeds. Inhalers reduced my lung capacity. In every case, the side effects of modern science were worse than the symptoms I was trying to alleviate, so it was super screwed up. So here's some tips for medication. If you have allergies, focus on washing your bed sheets and vacuuming really frequently. And then eating a vegan diet, like weirdly, anything plant-based actually helps because it seems to just calm down your body in general. Like I had really bad allergies as a kid, but then when I stopped taking Zyrtec, it was like I didn't even need it anymore. So that was awesome. Hair loss, just shave off your head and grow a beard. Honestly, like it's cooler and I miss my long hair, but it's a lot better than taking Propecia, which completely turned me into a robot. Mental health, minimalism, outdoor exercise, and avoiding TV and news. Just kind of like unplug yourself from negativity. If you want to engage by donating to charities or volunteering, do that stuff, but don't waste your time getting into arguments online and constantly following what the newest headlines are. Sleep. So one thing that worked really well for me is buying a hands-free book stand, and you can find them just by searching on Amazon or Google or whatever. And then I read for like an hour or two before I go to bed, and I find the stand really helps because then I'm not using my hands and it makes me super sleepy, so it works really well. And then everything else, some combination of the above can be really helpful, from everything from cancer to high blood pressure. And if you want to read more about medication and natural remedies instead of medication, Lost Connections by Johann Hari is a really, really good book for that. All right, moving on to the last one, number 4, cushioned shoes. In 2017, I got a part-time job at a local running store, and with the employee discount I got, I was able to score some of the best shoes in the world, from high cushion Hokas to zero drop Ultras. The problem was, no matter how many brands I tried, I kept getting injured. It's like calf strain, plantar fasciitis, joint pain, shin splints. Plus, the shoes would wear out in under 300 miles, which is not bad at a 50% discount, but really expensive for regular customers. Like if you're paying for shoes and you're spending $120 to $150 and they're wearing out in 3 months, that really fucking sucks. Finally, I ordered a pair of Vibram 5 Fingers, which are minimalist toe shoes. And after switching to a midfoot strike and training nearly barefoot for 3 months, my injuries disappeared. I haven't had a single twinge for 2 years, which is like virtually unheard of in the running community. Bonus, at 2,000 miles, my Vivo Barefoots and Vibrams both feel brand new. It's so weird because there's no cushion in them, so there's nothing to break down, and it's like they almost feel better now than they did when I bought them 2 years ago. So here's some tips on running shoes and shoes in general. Cushion. Just throw out your running shoes with cushion. Throw them in the garbage. You don't need them. Barefoot. Practice running barefoot around a local turf or grass field. Like if there's a high school and they have a football field, that can work really well. And as far as your stride goes, it's not that hard to learn a midfoot strike because you'll run that way naturally as soon as you take your shoes off. If you try to run with a heel strike without shoes on, you will literally break your ankle or your foot. So your body kind of knows what to do. So just take off your shoes and start practicing. You can run really slow and just build up from there. In terms of orthotics, having worked at a running store, I have discovered that inserts are just a complete scam. Your arches really don't need support, and in fact, they're basically big springs. So putting something under them to stop them from being springy doesn't make any sense at all. It's just going to injure your body. Trails. Trails are softer, more varied, and easier on your body than roads are. I do some road running, but I try to stick to trails most of the time. Miles. When you're training or transitioning for barefoot running, you just want to gradually increase your distance. So just, go out to the end of your street one day and then go out for maybe half a mile and then go out for a mile and then increase it however you feel comfortable increasing it. Don't go out and try to run 5 miles with your first pair of barefoot shoes. So racing, put your body in health before your training goals. Like some people say they want to get a certain PR and then they just push themselves to do whatever they have to do to get to that goal. But honestly, like racing really does not matter. I mean, your health is more important. Like what would you rather have? Some time that you're not going to remember in 10 years or to just be able to go out and run every day? Like just put your health first. Stay healthy. And if you want to read more about running, you can check out Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. It's a really good book about the Tarahumara, who are these legendary long distance runners. There's some stuff about barefoot shoes and the history of Nike and all kinds of cool stuff. So check that out. All right, so let's just wrap things up here. There's been so much hijacking of the word natural in the past decade that it's hard to even tell what's natural anymore. Amazon and Google are rife with brands that claim to be organic or minimal or harmless, but turn out to be poisonous garbage. My favorite trick for deciding what's natural is the caveman rule. When you're unsure about a product or you have a bad feeling, ask yourself, how ridiculous would a caveman look doing this thing? I can picture a caveman eating plants, running, washing their face, and wearing minimalist shoes or sandals, but when I try to picture a caveman eating at McDonald's, bench pressing 200 pounds, using a nasal spray, or strapping $200 Nikes on their feet, I just can't. It's too fucking ridiculous.